Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar. We are live with Jeff Dolan from Wavve.co. We're going to talk about video and social media in today's webinar. My name is Anka. I'm a customer success specialist here at SocialBee. And before we get started, just while people are joining the webinar, I wanted to welcome you all to today's event. I also wanted to let you know a bit of I would say ground rules for this webinar. This webinar is going to be recorded, so you don't have to worry about missing anything. And you will also have my colleague Roxana in the chat. You'll see her with the SocialBee logo there next to her name. She'll be there to help you. She'll be there to answer any questions that you may have. But speaking of questions, at the end of today's session, we will have a Q&A. So if you have any questions, drop them in the chat there. Roxana will pick them up and send them our way so that we can address them at the end of the webinar. Okay, so let's start with a little conversation. How are you, Jeff?
I'm doing great. Hi, Anka. This is exciting.
Ready. How's everyone doing? Where are you joining in from? I'd love to see people commenting in the chat. And I'd also love to see what's their biggest struggle with video or with social media.
I know I have a lot.
Yeah, me too. Let's see. There's people coming in from Canada, New York, Texas. Roxana says staying consistent with social media. That's a big issue for me as well, especially with the lack of time. I see UK people, Florida.
Texas, UK, yeah.
Awesome.
Florida.
Awesome. Where are you calling in from, Jeff?
I'm actually on the East Coast of North Carolina in the Outer Banks.
Awesome. I'm in Europe, actually, so it's 7 p.m. Here. I'm in Romania right now, in Transylvania, but I promise I'm not a vampire, so don't bring in the garlic.
Transylvania, love it.
Yeah,
That's cool.
it's fun. Yeah.
Middle England.
Sorry?
Jackie says she loves the Outer Banks. I do too.
Yeah.
It's pretty convenient because when everything locked down, it was like, darn, I'm stuck here on the beach.
Oh gosh, darn.
Italy. Alice from Italy. Kate from Pittsburgh. Welcome, welcome. Melissa from Maryland. That's awesome. Rachel from London.
I haven't seen any struggles yet as an answer to that question, so I'm
Everyone's just crushing it.
Then what are we doing?
They should be teaching us, right?
Yep, I think so. Awesome. Well, in this case, I think it's time to get started. There's quite a few people joining, and they'll be joining as we go along. So how about we get started? How about it?
Sounds great.
Awesome. Okay, let me just go ahead and share my screen really quick here. Let's see what's going on.
Yeah, Melissa's wants to do more video to try YouTube. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Getting held back by wanting to be a perfectionist. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, John. Big one.
The biggest pain in the world, being a perfectionist. I know that. That together with being a procrastinator is horrible. Horrible.
Well, you're in the right place. You're in the right place.
Yes. So today we are going to talk a little bit on how you can create and schedule video for your social media. So it's going to be a joint webinar between SocialBee, which I'm representing, and Wavve.co, which Jeff is the CEO of and is representing in today's webinar. Again, hi, my name is Anka. Yes, my name is Pop. I don't pop. I'm a customer success specialist here at SocialBee. I've been working with SocialBee for about 5 years now. And previous to that, I've been working in marketing agencies and all of that. So I've gathered quite a bit of marketing knowledge and I do enjoy it. Regarding SocialBee, we're a social media management tool helping you be consistent on social media and also save more time do things with less effort and things like that. So, Jeff, I'm going to let you do your own intro.
Sure. My name is Jeff Dolan. I'm the CEO of Wavve, and I also podcast. So I'm kind of in the audience that we serve. I'm a musician. I play bass. I've done films and specifically sci-fi short films, and I enjoy beach life here in North Carolina in the U.S. And I do. This is my first official role as a CEO at Wavve, and so prior to that, I've consulted with marketing, doing digital marketing for companies. Right, so I still retain some clients and help them with strategy and tools. And SocialBee was just one of those tools that I saw that was really impressive in all that they can do. So I was really happy to be able to meet with Anka and be able to provide this training for you. So
I'm excited. Awesome. So,
Alyssa in South Carolina. All right.
I want to tease everyone and invite them to stay over until the end of the webinar for a little surprise from both SocialBee and Wavve. But before that, and before we get into the actual topic, I wanted to give you just a few did you knows about videos. Did you know content is very big on social media and it can help you a lot. And so, did you know that around 80%, 85% actually, of social media users want more video in their socials? Or even the fact that 54% of marketers say that video is the most valuable content type. And I'm very curious to see in the chat how many of our users or our viewers today actually are already using video in their content strategy. Alyssa says that she's already using it, which is amazing.
Oh, a lot of people. Wow.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, Kate is camera shy. We got a solution, Kate.
That's a good thing.
Yeah,
Would love
it's
to.
hard. I mean, it is hard. It is hard. Video is hard.
Awesome. So quite a few answers. I'm happy to hear that you're gonna learn a lot in today's session. Actually, and more specifically, you're gonna learn how easy it is to create video content, whether you're sharing your face on video or not. You're gonna get a few tips and tricks on how to schedule your content and a few strategies on how you can either make video marketing work for you or improve your existing strategy with video marketing. And at the end of our session, as I mentioned previously, we are going to have a Q&A session. So leave any questions you have in the chat box. Roxana will pick them up and send them our way so that we can answer them. Awesome. So with this in mind, I think it's time to get this party rolling. Are you in, Jeff?
I'm in. Let's do it.
Awesome. Let's do it. I'll pass the mic over to you so that you can talk to us about how easy it is to create video content.
Cool. Thank you, Anka. So, how easy is it to create video content? It can be as easy as hard as you like. So, a few things that I want to kind of set up as prerequisites if you want to create a video, but you don't want to be on camera. Okay. So I noticed some of these comments here from you all. I use video to make trailer for books, but I have no interest in being in front of the camera. Thanks, Brandy. Audio mostly and a few video clips. I don't like the camera either. Melissa, thank you. Need a better way to automate publishing. I want to use video, but work for people who don't want to be on camera, from Jackie. I totally get that. You have all these wonderful ideas for how to get on the camera, and your client says, I'm not going to do that. And it's like pulling teeth, right?
And
But
they're done that.
yeah, you want to move forward and you want to create video content because you know it's important, but your client is like, I'm not doing that. And you're like, all you got to do is just go like that. And it's like, nope. So no matter how easy it is for mobile, it's just too hard because of the I don't have my makeup on. I don't look right. I got this. I got that. Lighting. I'm not good. I'm not a good filmmaker, right? So what we're trying to do at Wavve is we're trying to start with the audio first. So if you can at least get somebody to use audio and record an audio file, that's your first thing, and you can get that in a number of ways. You could have a podcast audio that you've had your client or yourself or your influencer get on a podcast, right? Whether that's one that you hosted or someone else. You can be on a Zoom call where you just interview them, right? So you just say, "Hey, it's just me and you. We're just going to get on a call and talk," right? And then you record their voice and their comments and what they're talking about, right? And they could drop a lot of knowledge to you or some other person where they feel comfortable, right? And they don't even have to be on camera. You can just do a voice memo in your phone, right? And you can record a nice trailer on your phone or a microphone, right? So you have to have some sort of audio file, okay? Then you have to have a graphic or photo. Now, there's a lot of places to get these photos for free, like unsplash.com, these kind of royalty-free images that really look nice that represent your brand. Or you can use your own podcast cover, a book cover, a logo, however you're going to design it. A lot of people use Canva or Photoshop just to create a graphic image. And then you're going to want to know what highlight you're going to use of your audio. So let's say you chose the route of, I'm going to just get, my client or myself or my boss, I'm just going to have a conversation. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to find the 30-second clip, the 15-second nugget that's really powerful, right? That you want to communicate in a social media post. And then you clip that. So and then you want to at least know what the timing is, right? If it's a bigger audio file. And what I'm going to ask you to do either while we're on the call or afterward is to create a free Wavve account, because we're going to put all this together in a video that's really easy to post. And then I'm going to hand that off to Anka, and she's going to show you how to put it in a SocialBee to get it out on all the socials. So it'll be really exciting.
Yes.
So those are kind of the prerequisites.
Awesome. So we are talking about creating a free Wavve account. Do you want me to move forward?
Yeah, that's fine. So the first step is you get a free Wavve account. When you log in, there's a big button that says create new video. Okay, so we're going to keep this super simple. And I know the overachievers and the perfectionists and all of me and everyone, we're going to want to just go overboard, right? We're going to want to try to do the craziest thing ever. And I want to have all these, edits and dynamic film, and I'm going to look like a movie star. We're going to break it down to where there's it's super easy, right? So you log into Wavve, you can do a free account. You can do up to a few minutes for free each month. Every month it renews. So if you want to do a 30-second clip, you can do one a week, every week for free, just to practice. If it's something you like, you can upgrade, but you don't have to. It can be a free account. And when you log in, there's a big button that says create a new video. You hit that, okay? And you're going to get this, import your audio file. Now you can choose a bunch of different ways to get your audio in, depending on what's easiest for you. So let's say you have what's called an RSS link. Now that is a very interesting link. It's when you host your podcast on any of the major hosts, they usually give you what's called an RSS feed. That is the place on the web where your actual audio is hosted, okay? If you log into your host and you grab that file and paste it in here, it'll pop up for you, and you can just select which episode you want, and we'll pull that right into Wavve and then allow you to edit what clip you want. Or you can upload it. You can hit the upload tab, upload it directly. So if you're on your phone, you can upload it from Google Drive or Dropbox or your actual phone memos. Or you can hit record and record it right in the app itself. Or if you've already loaded a video before, you can go to My Library. So those are the kind of the major options to get audio in. And then you're going to hit confirm and go to the next step. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do to keep this super, super simple, right? Super easy. We're going to start from scratch on the right. And I know that sounds a little scary, but I'm going to show you how easy this is. So we're going to hit start from scratch. I'm going to hit the new design button, start from scratch. And then we're going to go down. And depending on what you want to do, right, you might want to create a TikTok vertical video. You might want to create a square Twitter video. You might want to create a YouTube video. And what I've found is that if it's under 30 seconds, and Anka is going to talk about this in a minute. In
Mhm.
other words, what video can you create that's going to allow you to share it across all socials with minimum friction, meaning you don't have to reformat it, resize it, recreate it, right? How can you create something once and share it across all the 7 major socials and even more? So that's what I'm going to help you create on this call today. I hope that's okay. So we're going to go with the vertical, okay, 9 by 16. Okay, so that is a vertical orientation, and 1080 by 1920 is 1080 across, 1920 pixels down. That's what that means. And so that's the orientation we're going to pick today, because that one, if you can get it under 30 seconds, even on YouTube, it's going to show up as a YouTube short. Okay, so it shows up in the timeline for people just like a normal YouTube video, but it's actually a vertical video and it fills the entire screen, right? So they're not going to get distracted. It's going to be the whole screen. All right, so let's go to the next slide. I just picked a cool cityscape on Unsplash. That's all that is, right? And it's a vertical oriented picture. You can choose a nice picture that represents your brand. Like I said, you can choose a headshot, right? You have a nice headshot. Or if you're a little more ambitious or you have a graphic design team or something, you can actually lay out something that has their picture on it, right? Their title, what you're going to be talking about today, etc. But again, I want to keep this super, super easy. This is super easy, right? I grab the image. I'm going to click, see where the green arrows are at the bottom there? There's a little image button. I hit image. I grab the picture. I import it. It's going to put it centered right on the page, fill the whole screen. And then I'm going to hit the next little button there, which says waveform. And I'm going to choose from a whole library of different waveforms that we offer. And what that does, the waveform is moving on the screen to match my voice. Okay. So it's a dynamic video type of thing, animation. It's going to match my voice. So when I'm talking, it's going to go like this, right? And I want to put that in the middle or somewhere in the middle of the image. Okay. And I'm going to tell you why in a minute. The next and final step, the third step, is to create the clip. So if you loaded a 30-second clip or shorter, you don't have to edit anything. But if you loaded like a Zoom, video or something longer that the audio is really long, you're going to want to go and either type in the start and end time or actually just shrink the little handles on the right and left and actually get the clip that you want. And it'll tell you how many seconds you're selecting. So just make sure it's under 30 seconds, ideally. You can zoom in, zoom out. You can hit, listen to the start of it, to the end of it, make sure it's the right clip. And then you're going to want to say, confirm at the bottom. And that's going to generate out your vertical video with you talking, the dynamic audio going, and a nice picture behind it. Okay. When you're done, it's going to show up on your My Videos area, and it's going to say analyzing, and then it'll finish. It'll send you an email. Great job when you're done. And you're going to have, you click that download video button, and you can download that onto whatever device you want. That's going to allow you to upload it to SocialBee, right? And so for the purposes of this demo, I have consistency street.mp4, and you're going to get that. Okay. So now you have the MP4 video now. Okay. Super easy. You loaded a picture, you loaded an audio, you created it. And now we're going to hand it over to Anka to be able to load it and get it syndicated out. Okay.
Yeah.
So the key takeaways before I hand it over. The key takeaways are it's simple. Okay. There's no complicated editing. There's no big, timelines or screens. It's all in your browser. You own the content. Okay. So that means when you create this content and you store it in your digital library, this is going to be your content that you own the MP4. It's not like you're creating it on a platform that's stuck in the platform and you can't get it out. Or when you download it, like TikTok, they put the brand logo, right? All this stuff. It's yours, right? And you customize it for each platform that you put it on. You are loading the video in the feed by loading it natively from your device. And now this is key. I didn't really realize this when I first looked at what Wavve was doing. The reason why we're not automatically just like posting it out for you is because when you own the MP4, the actual video, and you load it natively to a social media platform, when they're scrolling in their feeds, it automatically can start playing. Now that's huge because a lot of people think that I'm going to just create a YouTube video over here and I'm going to just share the link on all my other socials. And what that does is that actually prevents a user when they're scrolling in their feed from having it automatically play, right? Because what's going to happen is they're just going to scroll and they're going to see a link with a picture and it's going to be a thumbnail. And then you're going to click
Yeah.
there and you're going to go out of the platform, the social media platform. Now, most social media platforms do not want you to do that. They want you to stay in the platform, right? So what we're doing by creating native content like an MP4 that you can load directly in is we're actually allowing you to stay, keep your visitors in the feed, watching your content, commenting, liking, sharing, all that, without leaving. And that's key. Uh, Next one, save time and hassle. There's no video editing, and you don't have to be on camera. Okay. Now, the next one is adding captions. You can in Wavve add captions, right? So this was a pretty basic design that we made where it's like one nice picture, a moving waveform in the middle. You can add captions under it or above that to gain more interest. But you can also do that as well in some of these social media platforms. So depending on how much work you want to do and how long your clip is, you may want to do it on the Wavve side, or you may want to do it in each of the social media platforms themselves, right? So some of them have their own way of doing it, and you might like that better. And then finally, and this is a key point too, your video is your thumbnail, okay? So that's kind of the shortcut hack. So if you figured out, especially this is on YouTube specifically, YouTube has an algorithm for exactly what your thumbnail rank is. And it doesn't really, it's not really transparent when you're on YouTube itself, but there are tools you can use with YouTube that actually analyzes the emotion of the faces on your thumbnail, the amount of text that's on there, how exciting it is, all these different factors. And so if you dial in just your thumbnail, which is an extremely important part of any kind of YouTube channel or Instagram feed, if you dial that in, that thumbnail can become your video itself, right? And that can become your audio that's dynamic and moving with Wavve. And so that's what we're trying to do here is really create a catchy thumbnail that is your video. Okay. So with that, those key takeaways, I'm going to hand it back over to Anka to continue to now take our MP4 and syndicate it to all the social media.
Yes, thank you so much, Jeff. That was actually very, very interesting. I actually took notes and got a few new information there. I didn't know they were analyzing the thumbnail on YouTube, for instance. And I think
Absolutely.
I have a hunch I'm not the only one that didn't know that. All right, so we do have the video now. What do we do with it? We are going to send it over to your socials. And more exactly, how are we going to do that? We're going to focus on 5 aspects that you should consider in order to make the most out of your content on social media, whether it's video content or any other type. And these factors are planning, consistency, timing, frequency, and automation. So let's get into what each one of these represent and how to make the most of them. So we're going to start with planning. Usually before you create your strategy, you first take a few steps and think about the bigger picture. You look at what you want to achieve you look at the resources that you have, you look at how you can make the best plan, the best marketing plan, in order to promote your brand moving forward. So you start by considering your marketing goals first, and then you look at the content. You think about what types of content will help you achieve those goals. Then you start writing your content ideas down into some sort of a calendar. You schedule them in time and so on and so forth. putting this into perspective, you can think about your social media posts as kind of like pieces of a puzzle, or team members in the same team, each one strategically placed there so that they can help you reach your desired results, reach your target audience, and get them to convert into a lead. For the plan to work, you need to be consistent, and this is the second point that we mentioned. This consistency is not about posting as much as you can, as most of us would believe, but it's about finding a balance between posting too much or posting too little. You don't want to spam your audience, but you also don't want to leave them hanging for too long, so to speak. They don't need to forget about your existence on that platform. So you need to keep in mind that each platform has their own separate algorithms. This could mean that you need to have separate strategies for each platform. For instance, let's take Twitter. They recommend usually posting about 15 times per day. That means 15 separate tweets in a day. That sounds like a lot, but when you think about Twitter, it's the fact that tweets have such a short lifespan. There's so many people tweeting here and there that the chances of someone actually seeing your tweet are short and minimal. And so you want to tweet that more times to kind of make sure that that you have the visibility that you want. On the other side, Facebook doesn't want that. So Facebook's best practice tell you to post ideally once or maybe twice a day. When it comes to consistency, though, relying on the general best practices, they might work, but they might not. You can also experiment with how much you post. You can also monitor your performance. You can also identify patterns that are specific to your audience. So you can think about who your audience is and when they are actually online, rather than listening to a general best practice that says you should post between 9 and 11 a.m., for instance. And once you find the best times to post for you, all you need to do is stick to your schedule. Create your plan and stick to your schedule. And that's the magic of it. The third thing that I mentioned was about timing, and how this is very important because
Consistency.
algorithm. Sorry?
Sorry, you dropped off there for a few minutes.
A few minutes?
Yeah, so, or at least a minute, minute and a half.
I'm so sorry. So,
It's okay.
did anybody else have this problem? Was it for everyone?
Oh, Anka was still on. Okay, maybe I was the one that dropped. Oh,
Oh.
sorry. Didn't
God,
mean to. Sorry. Go ahead.
So everyone else saw what I had to say.
Yeah, so it looks like I was the one that dropped off, so I'm sorry.
Okay, nearly had a heart attack here. Sorry.
John said that's what I get for living on the beach. Yep.
Well, I would honestly, I would take that over the weather here any day. Anyway, I was talking about timing and how it's very important for social media. And I was actually going to mention that social media algorithms take into account when you're posting, and when are they going to show your content to your audience. That's because, as Jeff said earlier, the audience, the social media platforms want your audience to stay on that platform. And so the algorithms are built in such a way that whenever they refresh their feed or they go into the platform, something new pops up that they haven't seen yet, to keep them curious. Now, most social platforms promote the latest posts in a chronological order. I can't speak today. Or they just use relevant content for their audience. So the more you like posts, the more they show up for you. The goal is to always give your users what they've never seen, but also make them curious. So if they see the same content multiple times, they tend to leave because there's nothing new there. I've seen this before. Let me go somewhere else. You don't want that. Instead, what you can do is you can customize your content, your schedule to make sure that your specific audience stays interested in it. You can do that by checking your analytics to see when your audience is online, what are your best performing posts, things like that. You can also follow the general best practices, but adhere to whatever works best for you. So look at the best practices first as a first step, then look at your data and overlap them, see where the common elements are, and use those ones instead. And then lastly, just test and adjust as you go. Don't be afraid to test things with timing. And I've also included this. You can also screenshot it. These are just the general best practices on each social platform and how they usually work. So best times to post and best number of posts in a day. Take a moment to screenshot that while I sip a bit of water.
Yeah, that 15 times a day on Twitter is just
It's
amazing.
shocking,
That
right?
I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
I mean TikTok 2 to 3 times a day. I've heard that one, but
But if
not
you
the
think
15
about it,
times.
if you
What?
think about it, if you're on Twitter, and you look at your feed, how often does it refresh?
Yeah,
It does,
right.
right? It's very, very quick to refresh because there's so many tweets going out every minute. And so that's why the more you post on Twitter, the more chances you get of your tweet actually being seen.
Right. Yeah, and two, I mean, native video on Twitter takes up much more real estate, right, than just a
Hmm.
text. So,
Yeah,
I mean, when somebody's scrolling, they're gonna see whatever it is, your video over just a text video.
exactly. So that's also a good tip as a general tip on social media is to use anything that could catch your audience's eye. And that, for the most part, in today's best practices, I guess, is video. Videos are auto playing on their feeds. They are catching their interest, keeping them longer on the platform. So, yeah, it's a very, very good idea to use the video on Twitter, on Facebook, on any platform. They say content is king, but I think video is the emperor at this point.
And Anka, are the best posting times there? Is that like your time zone for your people, or is that like Eastern time or
So that's a good question. These are general times, which means 9 a.m. It's still going to be 9 a.m. whether we're in Eastern time or Australian time or whichever time zone you're in. So
gotcha?
it can apply to whichever time zone. But again, they are general best practices, so keep that in mind and always adjust with whatever your audience data shows. Because to give you just two examples here, you can have um, um B2B business, so to speak, and you can maybe focus on your LinkedIn as a primary platform. Usually on LinkedIn, people are gonna be there in their work day, so it's gonna be a 9 to 5. It's going to be weekdays, not weekends. As
Hmm.
opposed to that, if you're going to cater to stay-at-home moms, for instance, they're probably going to have a different schedule. First of all, they're going to be using separate platforms, maybe Instagram. They might be scrolling through Instagram and Facebook at night when the kids are asleep. So
Yeah.
it's very important to analyze your target audience. That's why I'm stressing this so much. All right, so we're gonna move forward with another tip, which is to follow the 4-1-1 rule. Because at its core, social media is a place where people come to socialize. They come to unwind, to relax. They don't want to be there too much with the brands. They want to be with their family, with their friends. But what I'm trying to say here is that brands shouldn't be focusing 100% on promotional content. So you can focus more on building a community with your audience, on customer support, even if you have something like a software or services, things like that. You can focus on reaching more prospects and then bringing them into your sales funnel if that's what you want, sure, because ultimately all businesses want to gain more sales, right? But with social media, the main purpose would be to foster a community instead. And then as a secondary goal, you can go ahead and improve your sales from there. So the 411 rule that we've mentioned here is going to be a very effective way of creating a good content mix for your audience. It's also very similar, and I'll give you another example here. It's very similar to the 80-20 rule that can apply in a lot of things, where 80% of your content can educate or entertain your audience, and then 20% of your content actively promotes your business. In this rule specifically, you will have about 4 posts that are either entertaining or educational in any way. And here you can include things like curated content, news content, blog posts, video content that's either educational or entertaining. Then you have something that we call a soft sell, which is kind of like an indirect sell. It educates you, but also promotes a little bit the business. And then you also have a hard sell, which is actively promoting your business as well.
And that curation point is a good point. Like for instance, if I was wanting to create content and I didn't have, let's say, a book that I wrote or something that I was trying to promote, or a podcast, I
Yeah.
could I could easily just create a wave where the image is just the cover of the book that I'm reviewing and I'm sharing my thoughts on it, right? Or something
Yeah.
similar, like there's a movie and I'm reviewing it, or hey, the latest, whatever podcast I listened to and I'm sharing my thoughts on it and giving my input. So there's a lot of ways that you can create kind of these educational, entertaining type of posts that are not directly selling your business, but they're related to your niche and your community.
That's so true. That's so true. Okay, so I'm gonna go a little bit faster now and show you the last step that I mentioned in the beginning there, which is automation. And basically, when it comes to social media, sometimes you need to automate things, and that's where tools like SocialBee come into play, because we can help you save time, save effort by cutting your repetitive tasks, making sure that you remove the unnecessary work that you don't need to do, but still keep all of those previous elements that we've talked about. Keep your consistency, stay in line with your strategy, and all of that. So, with SocialBee, for example, which is an all in one platform, and it brings your content creation and distribution tasks all in one place. With SocialBee, you can create your posts, you can schedule them, you can publish them, and then you can monitor their performance without having to go all over the place. You don't have to go to Facebook, to LinkedIn, to Twitter, to Pinterest, to whatever else you use. You can just go into SocialBee, do all of that, and that's it, really. So we have a lot of features that can allow you to post content to your social media. You can schedule hundreds of posts at once. You can create that content balance using the category system that we have in place. You can requeue and revamp your content with the evergreen feature, which allows you to create variations of the same content, so that even though you are sharing the same thing, because inevitably you will have to share the same thing here and there, it doesn't look repetitive to your audience. These are a few key things that you can do with SocialBee when automating all of those points that we discussed in the previous slides. And what you're currently seeing on the dashboard, on the slideshow here, is the schedule setup in SocialBee. This is where you can create your balance, your content mix. You'll see here that you can schedule specific categories. So for instance, if you're a coach and you have something like a Motivation Monday topic that you regularly post every Monday, or if you are curating a group, a community on Facebook, and you have a specific topic that you post on the same day of the week, or even if you just want to make sure that your content pillars are aligned in a specific order during your week, you can schedule your categories instead of individual posts in SocialBee. You see here that we have marketing news, we have blog posts, we have educational content. All of that is going out to our Facebook page in a week's time. And below the schedule, you'll also see that we have some statistics that can help you figure out exactly how many times per day or per week your category is pushing out content. So going back to the Motivation Monday example that I gave earlier, that would go out on a Monday and that's it, right? So in that case, if I were to look at the statistics, I would see that category scheduled once a week on Mondays. And then if I would look at the end column here, you can't really tell in the image, but that says the total per week. So that one tells you how much of that category is going out in a week's time, and also the percentage, of your total content for that week coming from that category. And this plays into the 4-1-1 rule or the 80-20 rule example that I gave you earlier. So if you're working with the 80-20 rule, you can figure out by looking at this if your educational content is close to 80%, or if your promotional content is close to the 20%, or even if you're undersharing, oversharing from any one of your categories. So it can help you kind of understand your content better. Now, before we go to the Q&A, I just wanted to give you some general tips on how you can use videos on social media, because mastering social media scheduling is something that will set you up for success. So right now, videos are where it's at. Platforms like TikTok, they're built specifically for video content, which is why most other platforms are cashing in on that practice. You see Instagram and Facebook coming up with Reels to compete with TikToks because video content appeals to the majority of people and brings in most of the engagement. Now, let's talk about the 5 things that you can do when it comes to video content, because usually our first instinct is to think about high production. You know, you need cameras, you need lights, you need backgrounds, you need all of those things to make it big. But in reality, as Jeff said when he did his part, you need to keep things simpler. Video content can be 30 seconds promoting your business. It can be a 50-second funny video. It can be a live session. It can be a TikTok. It can be whatever you need it to be. So don't be afraid to go live. Don't be afraid to go post on stories, to use TikTok, to use Reels, to use YouTube and all of these amazing video resources. And you can easily work with Wavve to kind of bring it all together if you don't want to use your face in your videos, or even just to create like a mix. Some videos which might be more promotional, they might need you to bring in your face, but then there's other videos like promoting the podcast episode, like promoting the book, which might just work better with a Wavve instead. So
and we have creators that are using like Pinterest and Instagram stories where it's like a mix of different. So they'll have like an image, a live face on video, a Wavve video, right? They'll have a bunch of different kinds all queued up. So yeah, the sky's the limit a lot. And varying it, like you said, really helps.
Yeah, exactly. And just, I couldn't underline this enough. Don't be afraid to experiment with different types of formats, with different types of video content, because you never know what works until you try it. Now, moving on a little bit, let's talk about how you need to adjust your video length to match each platform's requirements. And I was actually talking to Jeff about this the other day, and we were talking about how, you know what, Instagram's time limit might be something that could be causing you trouble when scheduling your content, for instance. Because if you have a longer video than what Instagram currently allows, you will not be able to send that video out. And so you can also screenshot this if you want to. Um, Instead of spending a lot of time into creating a huge video, a very long video that will not be able to make it to these social platforms, except for YouTube maybe, make sure you create snippets of video that work into whatever platforms you are using. So I mentioned here that, for TikToks, the best length right now is somewhere between 7 to 15 seconds. This doesn't mean that your TikTok should be that long, but it should mean that this is the key, the time key to catch your audience attention. They don't wait longer than that. So even if you upload a 3-minute TikTok, if you don't catch their attention the first 7 seconds, they're gone. They've scrolled up and you're gone. For Twitter, for instance, the best video length right now is 40 seconds, even though they do allow 2 minutes and 20 seconds. For Instagram, 1 minute-ish. For a feed video, Reels are no longer than 1 minute as well. So,
And Anka, there's a comment. Larry says, "Does SocialBee post to YouTube since it's not on the slide?"
that's a good question. No, SocialBee doesn't post to YouTube at the moment. We don't have an integration with YouTube, which is why it's not on the slide. And that's because YouTube is not considered a social media platform yet. They are more video streaming platform or search engine platform rather than social media.
And if
So
well, and for those that are watching that do want to post to YouTube, you can actually post automatically and schedule to YouTube with Wavve if you use Zapier. So if you have a free Zapier account, you can connect it to Wavve and automatically schedule YouTube posts. So in other words, what happens, it's really cool. I have a tutorial on the homepage of wavve.co. Just go there, scroll down, you'll see the little Zapier Wavve. And you can actually create your video. When it's done, it'll post to YouTube automatically. So check that out if you're wanting to do that.
awesome. That gives me an idea because SocialBee also has an integration with Zapier. So if you want to use Wavve and SocialBee together, you might be able to create something with Zapier there.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so another good tip here is to add captions to your videos. And there are two main reasons why videos should have captions. One, they should be accessible to people with hearing impairments. And two, you should allow your audience to know what the video is about without having to watch the video, because some of them might be using sound off, they're public transport, they're just scrolling through or whatever. And actually, statistics show that about 69% of people view videos with sound off when they're in public places. So keep that in mind, I guess.
Yeah. A lot of people don't listen sometimes, right?
Yeah,
They're looking for the
they're looking
captions.
for the visual, but they're also looking for the captions. And by the way, if you're using TikTok, if you're using Reels, always include captions in your video. That's a good tip. Now, another good tip is to optimize this content for mobile devices. Jeff already mentioned that vertical videos might work best, especially if you're working with Reels, with TikToks, with things like that. Vertical videos are the key right now. So keep in mind to adjust to most mobile devices as well. And last but not least, just have an engaging thumbnail. And Jeff mentioned that it could be your entire cover of the wave. It could be like the backdrop. You can also do this depending on whichever type of video you're creating. It could be like the cover of your reel. It could be the cover of your YouTube. So yeah.
And I didn't realize this actually. Like So if you create, it can be separate, right? Like if you had a video like this or it's face on video
Hmm.
and you wanted to have your thumbnail be a totally separate image, you can have those be totally separate. So you don't have to take the social media suggestion of like a clip where you're like, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, exactly. So, for instance, I've seen clients in SocialBee use it, like, they're like bloggers, food bloggers, for instance, or chefs, and they want to make a reel with a recipe, but the cover photo should be the final product, not the whisk mixing, right?
right.
And so, in that scenario, you want to make sure that there's a separate thumbnail for your final product, so that it works into what you're going to be showing them in the video. Good. I have a few extra tips on how you can repurpose social media content, and I'll go through it very, very quickly because I noticed that we're short on time. So create your evergreen videos. That way, if you don't mention any timestamps, if you don't mention any events, anything that's time sensitive, you can recycle them again and again and again. And I gave you a few um, ideas on what types of videos could be evergreen. And then also, when you repurpose content, think about it this way. You can repurpose webinars, you can repurpose podcasts, you can repurpose blog articles, you can use all of these and just create videos from them, and then use the videos later on as well. Recycling, um, even your live feeds as well. And then if you decide to invest in ads, in social media ads, you can also use your videos in your ads, just like you see in the example that I have right here. And really, that's all there is to today's talk. Thank you for sticking with us till the end. We have an interesting offer for you guys here. I'll leave it on screen while I come back into the chat and see how things are going. I'm also going to be adding um, just some notes here in the chat just to have them handy for you all. What did you think about the information in this webinar? Are you ready for the Q&A? We're just going to answer a few questions here and there. I hope there were no technical glitches and anything like that. So awesome. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to jump into any questions. I'll check to see if there are any. While I see no one had any issues. Barbara, there's going to be a replay, so don't worry about arriving late. It's fine. Okay, let's see. I'm just scrolling through the chat really quick to see if there are any questions. Can I use the
There's some,
waves I made on IG or Pinterest?
yes, absolutely. So once you have that MP4 file, and there is a setting you can create a 5:4 vertical or a 4:5 vertical if you wanted to use that instead of just a full vertical. But yeah, you can. Once you have that MP4 file, you can use it in SocialBee to post it everywhere, any of those platforms. Yeah, it's multi-purpose. So once you create it, you own it. You can do whatever you want with it.
Awesome. And then I agree with what you said. There's also another question here that says, so if you're doing a vlog, it should be not longer than 90 seconds for Facebook. And I think I'm going to just start by answering this on my end. Just to clarify, no, it doesn't necessarily need to be 90 seconds, the entire vlog, but you can create segments of it to kind of make sure that it works into the limit for that platform. On Facebook, the limit is higher. The 90 seconds play more into the attention span of the user, as in the average for that platform. In the meantime, Jeff, I have some other questions here for you from our audience. So Jay says, the free Wavve account says 15 seconds, not 30, but you mentioned 30 second videos when you did your presentation.
Yeah, maybe email us at support@wave.co. Yeah, you should have up to 2 minutes for free. So maybe you already used some minutes, and that's why it's saying a lower minute. But yeah, if you have any issues, let us know, and we'll help you out.
Awesome. And their email is on the slide there, so you have them easily accessible. Anna asks, can you preview with animation before saving the video?
Yes, absolutely. So you'll see the little waveform matching your voice and the image that you created with the audio before you generate. So, and you can edit up to 3 times without counting towards any of your minutes. So if you messed up something or need to go back, you can absolutely edit that.
Awesome. And then I have another question from, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Quack, I think, talking about the ability to preview without using a paid time on the platform. So is this feature a paid feature, a premium feature, or a free one?
In Wave, yeah, you can create a preview and just not hit the final generate button, and it won't count towards your minutes.
Awesome. And then I have another one. How many templates are there in Wave?
So really the way that we look at templates is we're trying not to have templates. We have like a handful of templates that are meant to just showcase what could be possible. But what we're really encouraging you to do is create your own branded templates, quote unquote, because we really want you to be unique online. We don't want you to look like all the other people that use the same exact Canva designs over and over and over, and then you think you're being original by using them, and you just look the same as everyone else. So we really want you to encourage you to use your own look, your own designs, your own voice, your own logos, and really make it look special for you. So we don't really focus too much on templates. But if our users are like, no, we definitely want that, we will consider adding more of those. But yeah, there's only a handful today.
Awesome. Okay, and I have a final question for you right now here from Raul saying that we are developing IVRS application, and there we play audio files, but the size is higher, like 40 megabytes. How can Wave help?
Yeah, so if you have large files, there's a limit at some point, and I think our limit is like 75 megabytes, where it starts just getting very slow to load, and so most people won't want to sit there and wait. It'll just take forever in the browser to try to crank through. 40 megabytes should be okay. We'll take that and put that in Wave, and then you can clip it down. But here's a quick tip I'll encourage everybody to take back, and this is huge in the culture of short clips that we're trying to get attention to our main content, like we have an hour long YouTube, hour long podcast. Instead of just sharing that, we're sharing these little clips, right? So the key thing that you want to tell all of your editors, or if you're editing yourself, right, while you're editing your podcast, if you find a little nugget, like a 15-second, 20-second clip, go ahead and highlight that and export that out as an MP3 and just have it in a folder. It'll
Mhm.
save you so much time later having to curate and find and scrub through and listen to all your hour long podcasts or YouTube. Trust me, it'll save you so much time, and you'll have so much great content in already clipped out formats to share on socials.
I agree. That's a very good. I also have a few questions regarding SocialBee. So I can see Kate here asked, how do you balance time zones if your readers are global? And that's a very good question, Kate. It's something that also works with SocialBee because our users are global as well. So our strategy is to post things usually when at times that someone will be able to see it. um, you know, it's more or less than sharing something educational in the morning and sharing something promotional at noon, because at this time it's always going to be somewhere morning time and always it's going to be evening. So create kind of like a mix, kind of like a rotation of your content so that everyone can have a bit of education and everyone can have a bit of promotional and a bit of news and things like that. So maybe, I don't know, um, circle them around in different days so that you have them spread out for a lot of people. A second question here. Larry asks, Pinterest allows maximum 30 times a day, including repins. I'm afraid I'm not very familiar with repins, so I'm not sure if that's something that counts. But I'm going to go ahead and say, and hope I'm not wrong, that no, I think it's going to be 30 original pins instead of repins. So if you're repinning someone else's pin, I don't think that's a limit. And then Patrick asks, what's the best time to go live on any of the platforms? And really, usually it's suggested to go live Monday to Friday, usually, or either at noon or around 7 to 9 p.m. when people have time to actually stay in the live. So at noon, because people are eating, they're eating lunch, they're on a break from work and things like that, or 7 to 9 when they're either commuting or they're home relaxing and things like that. Does posting via SocialBee as opposed to natively impact platform algorithms? And more specifically, if it impacts visibility and reach of each post. This is a myth that I've seen surface so many times in the 5 years I've been working in this. No, it does not. So I guess the answer is yes, it impacts it because it helps you post at the right times when your audience is online. And so it impacts it in a good way. No, it does not hurt your reach or your visibility. There's no proven research. Any research that I've seen done on this topic shows an exact opposite result. So no, it does not hurt your reach. It does not hurt your visibility. And if you think about it, SocialBee and other tools like SocialBee, we're using the official APIs of that platform. So why would Facebook or Twitter give other tools permission to schedule content and then ban them from using it? It doesn't really make that much sense to do so. Let's see, another question here. Anna asks, with expiration dates, can it convert it to draft instead of deleting it? Say a spring post that I want to bring back next year, but is no longer relevant this year. So if you're not familiar with SocialBee, we have a feature that allows you to expire your content. And usually when the post expires, it gets removed from your category so that you don't run the risk of publishing it again. The way you can bring it back is by finding it in your analytics in SocialBee. So we have this feature that, it will show you your published posts so that you can monitor their performance and things like that. And what you can do is you can bring the post back from your analytics into your category. Or another thing that you can do is you can duplicate the post and set it to a draft mode so that you have it there for next year. I think I have a few more questions here. I'm going to quickly go through them. Kate asks, is posting on SocialBee the same as posting natively when it comes to video autoplay? Yes. So normally SocialBee sends the video to the platform to get published whenever you schedule your post. So there's not going to be a link to a video and take you somewhere else. It's going to be native posting.
Yep.
And then one other question that I have here is asking, how often should we post on different platforms? I did include the best practices in the slideshow there. If you missed that, go ahead and watch the replay and you'll see them. Depending on the platform, there are going to be different best practices for that. And then Alyssa asks, you can post your full video to YouTube, but use small posts on social media. Can you post a link to your YouTube to see the full video. Yes, you can. You can definitely. And with SocialBee, you can even include the RSS of your YouTube channel in SocialBee so that your videos get imported into SocialBee automatically. So you don't have to worry about that either. Now, Jeff, I also have another question for you here. Um, in the presentation, there's no talk about infographics, and this is also important. How would you tie in infographics into a Wave video?
Yeah, this is a great question. So, the challenge of infographics for most people is actually creating the infographic, right? So, if you
Mhm.
actually have the ability to create infographics, right, and instead of just sharing the actual just graphic, which a lot of people share, you can turn that image, that infographic, with your commentary over it, explaining it, right? Which is huge to be able to do that, and even another idea is you could have different languages explaining it, right? Explain it in different languages. So have different people interpret it and have their voice over it. So it's still the same image, but now you have audio over it in a nice explanation of the data. So I think that's a great point, and that's one idea for you to use with Wave.
Awesome. I think those are all the questions that we have for today. If you have any other question, this is the last call. I'm looking at the chat right now, so let's see if there's anything else. If
There's
not,
one. There
yeah.
is one question. Dr. Salim says, "Is Wave integrated with SocialBee?" So
Oh,
not today, but we are both on Zapier. Okay. And how I've been using it integrated is I get through Zapier the when the wave is done, it goes into Zapier and then it goes out through SocialBee. So there's some things you can do that are pretty cool with Zapier being the integrator. So
yeah, I
definitely
think
check
that
that out.
maybe in the future you're gonna
Yeah,
see.
maybe in the future. That's right. Absolutely.
Awesome. So I'm not going to keep everyone any longer if there are no other questions. Just remember to use the code social 50 times 3 if you want to explore this effort and get 50% off on 3 months on both Wave and SocialBee. And if you have any follow-up questions at any point, you have our contacts here. You can always reach out to any of us and ask your question, and we'll be more than happy to help. Thank you all for taking part in today's session. Thank you, Jeff, for being such an amazing co-host today.
Thank
I
you.
really enjoyed your is there a special discount code for Wave? It's the same one. It's the same code that you see on screen for both Wave and SocialBee. So you can use the same discount code. Awesome. I
Anka,
think
this was so fun. Thank you
I'm
so much.
glad to hear it. I had a lot of fun. I hope we can do it again soon.
Cool. Have a good one. Take care.
You too. Bye, everyone.